to Let's Chat, the newest chat on the internet. Tonight we're going to be discussing The Walking Dead, and here's the co-host, Mouse.
Hey, and we got Jason, who is a Walking Dead head. Wave, Jason. So listen, we have youth and handsomeness tonight, and the name of last night's episode was Always Accountable. And I found it a wee bit weird, even though, of course, my favorite part was it was all Daryl all day, which means my television and my laptop monitor was properly cleaned by my tongue, okay? Because I have a crush on Daryl, as do hundreds of thousands of other women on that dirty, handsome redneck boy.
Especially when he took off his shirt and jacket and all of that.
Oh, and he was bleeding. I was afraid he had gotten shot. So the opening wasn't quite as epic as last week, right? With Rick running towards the gate with the herd behind him.
Oh, yeah.
But it was, they were on the road, and I think it was Abraham who said, okay, we're 20 miles out, right, on the radio. So they took off, Daryl on his motorcycle, Abe and Sasha driving, and left the herd just walking down the highway. So that was a pretty cool beginning, took us right into them, which is what I was really interested in knowing about. What'd y'all think?
Well, it was okay. I mean, they could have started off a little better. I mean, no. Now, them getting shot at was kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's like maybe if they started with that, it might have been funner, but it probably wouldn't have tied up the story or something like that.
Yeah, wouldn't have given us like a smooth entry. And then it seemed as soon as they turned on the highway that, you know, through that little sort of main street town, that, man, did those people open fire, because you know you could hear that herd. Remember, they were worried about him in the quarry, you know, the way they growl and gnash their teeth. That sound is what was drawing more walkers to them. So, but man, it hit the ground running, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Who do you think it is?
I'm wondering if it's not that new group that's supposed to be coming in, you know, where, okay, if anybody's read the graphic novels, everybody knows that Glenn's supposed to die by the hands of Meacham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's not his group. That's the reason they were sitting there talking about they weren't going to kneel to him. And
Yes. Yeah.
I haven't really thought of that part yet.
Let me see if I can type in the external. Hi, Kathy. Yeah, so that, and then Daryl, when he laid the motorcycle down, I was worried he got shot. Then later, when we saw the blood on his hand, I was worried he got shot in the back of the elbow. And then Abraham and Sasha crashed smack into that building, and I love Abraham, right, protecting his moneymaker. He covers his face, right? Yeah. He's got to keep it pretty. Now, I got a little confused. Abraham and Sasha, of course, got out the car, and that was a trashy car anyway, right?
Oh, yeah.
And she even made that comment to Daryl at one point, have you seen what we're driving, right? When he said, try to keep up. She just hoped it'd keep rolling. And so they were shooting into the bad guy's car, who'd been shooting at them into the windshield. I did not see people in that car, but they may have been in it. And then, did he have a hand grenade? Did Abraham have a hand grenade?
No, I think he pulled a knife.
Yeah.
He was going to that they were supposed to turn into.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was going to stop them, Jason, from being walkers?
Yeah, it's Simon and Brain, I think.
Okay, and then Sasha said, wait, there could be more.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Moms!
I'm back. How's that, Mom?
Oh, my God. Okay, your microphone's way out. That thing, it was like an antenna. Wait, dude, that sounded awesome, Moms.
It's like
It sounds better.
Is it too loud?
No, it sounds excellent. How's it sound to Jason and Tommy?
It sounds pretty good to me.
Sounds good.
Great.
Nice.
All right.
You're
Now
like
I
in our
just look
top
like a
pocket,
dork.
Mom. No, you look great. You
Yeah.
always very pretty. Okay, now Daryl crashed the bike, then he got up. okay, and then he's chased by the SUV. And I love the scene, right, where that kind of green, or just depends on your color of your monitor, went flying down, and then he crossed behind him into the woods. That kind of tripped me out. I was like, look at Daryl being all evasive. He might run from me, honey, but he'd never hide.
Yeah. Just
When he
Now-
took his jacket off, I thought about you.
Oh yes, I would have given anything to have a super slow mo. That and played some music, yeah, like an old porn movie. Now, okay, this confused me. When he fell off the bike, he ended up being next to a walker, right? The growl.
Yeah.
Did that walker have a helmet on?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it had actually melted to his head.
Oh, because then we learned later that they had set a fire.
Yeah,
Okay, I got it.
that's the reason he didn't worry about killing it, because the helmet had actually melted to its head, so he couldn't actually bite anybody.
Okay, that's what. Oh God, I just said Stumpo instead of Stumpo.
And the helmet actually protected the walker's head from actually just decaying and becoming nothing.
Okay,
So
because his body was so little, and what's the word for that? Degraded? What's the right word for a decaying? Gone. That he looked like one of the aliens from some of the old shows we used to watch, with that big head, and I was like, that kind of tripped me out.
I don't really think he degraded. I think he was burned away.
yeah, it was just burnt.
Okay, see,
Well,
that
the
makes
graphics on it this time. The graphics on it this time were really good. I mean, just the difference between the ones that were in the fire and then the ones that were in that scene where they were attacking in the woods. Is that the one I'm talking about? Anyhow,
yes.
the difference between the graphics was really good. And that mossy one that came after Daryl, that was
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was real good.
That was the skeleton one?
Yeah.
Okay, oh yeah, and that reminded me, and he was trying so hard to get his bow out of his duffel bag.
Crossbow.
Mm.
I'll get it.
My husband's going to bed. The bear's going to bed. I gotta use my little voice. I don't really have a little voice. But I have to try. Yeah, I was afraid when he couldn't get his bow out, and I wasn't sure if he was looking for a knife, that it was gonna be like, who's the girl you like, Tommy? Maggie, when she was in the sewer and she was trying to push that walker away, but her hands just kept going through his skeleton.
Oh, yeah.
And I did like how he went straight for his radio to call Abe and Sasha. He remembered they were actually a team, remember, because he's Mr. Independent.
Oh, yeah.
And Abraham mentioned that to Sasha when their car crashed and she left him a footprint, remember?
Yeah.
And he reminded her that he left them once. And I was like, ooh, and he's right,
Yeah, but he wasn't really leaving them. I think he was going back to try to save, he was wanting to go back to Alexandria to save them.
But in doing that, he did leave Abe and Sasha. And if their car broke down or something, you know what I mean? And he was part of the noise. I didn't like when Daryl did that. I would still bang him in the road, right? But I was not happy that he did that.
I tell you what, though. That was really, really good show, though. I mean, for the Daryl side of the story, except I think they're kind of making him a wuss.
Hey. Tommy?
Well, look, earlier in the series, there is no way somebody would have snuck up behind him and bopped him in the head with a damn big old stick.
Okay, listen. Daryl had been traumatized with all he had been through. He saw 2 girls. He's become a nicer guy. Simmer down with calling Daryl names. Simmer down.
That's Carol's effect on him. I really believe that. Carol softened that boy up.
Oh, the blasphemy of you two.
Or is it
I think it's a bad thing. It's not a good thing to be on the road and being soft.
He's still got his hard side,
Oh,
but
yeah.
she's giving him that little bit of tenderness.
Yeah,
you know.
kind of got rid of the merle and that hard edge, and he's really smart. He's been bucking Rick a little bit. You know, he's got opinions. He matters. I would listen to him all night long. You know?
But
So,
now, when he was taking off his jacket and the vest, did he actually leave his vest there, his angel wings vest?
okay, that I tried to figure out as well, even watching the second one, but and also he covered up the bike. So I was like, okay, the bike is not disabled when he covered it with the branches,
Yeah.
but that was a sweet scene that some female in production went, we need to make it really hard for him to get off his leather jacket. And that leather jacket protected his arm, too, of course. But I was worried he was shot, you know, right above the elbow when he pulled it off and you could see the wound. But then, of course, when I watched it again, that's the arm he wiped out on, you know.
So I'm
Hey,
wondering
Kim.
if he's losing a vest or something, or just going back.
Yep, he's going to have to get another one. But yeah, when he called and didn't get any answer, that really creeped me out. And then he came on the two females so quick, right, with his bow out. And they immediately said, we earned what we took, we earned what we took. And then boom, like y'all said, he gets hit in the back of the head. And I did love it when he was tied up, but they were really dumb to tie his hands in front of him.
And in a simple square knot. You know, as soon as he gets it off, you know, he's going to bite that out.
Oh, yeah,
You know, it's just a simple knot.
Well, they showed him when he escaped. He just pulled it right out. I mean, it was just he had it out.
But like Mom said, he used his teeth, and another female production person did that to us so we could see him gnawing on it, pull it out with all his sexy macho habit. Hell yeah. So then the guy says, right, well, I don't remember his name. I don't know if I ever heard it. We're
I don't
moving.
think they said his name.
Okay, that makes sense. We're moving, so follow the girls, right? I noticed that I think it was Tina, the little blonde with the short hair. She
Yeah.
called them dead ones. Remember when we heard dead ones? Was it Terminus by Garrus' brother, I think, who said they call them the dead ones. Our crew calls them walkers. And that kind of gave me a creepy feeling because I don't think they're wolves, of course.
Yeah, they
The
don't
wolves
have
don't
wolves.
have guns.
Or maybe it was one of the prisoners from Terminus.
Yeah, that'd be creepy. So, but now I did like they gave Daryl water when they were walking through the woods. Remember, we don't need you to faint because we're going to use you, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, maybe they were a first crew that came through Terminus before Terminus went bad.
That's right, because the Terminus people took that over from somebody, remember?
Yeah.
Well, no, the Terminus group was there, and then another group took them over, and they finally fought them back and got the compound back.
Yes.
But when they did, they went really crazy and started eating people. So
Yep. Now,
maybe they went through it beforehand or something.
That could be. Now, I had problems with audio, not my television, but it's like they put mashed potatoes in everybody's mouth because the guy goes, everybody got their code, and we got to remember, too, I couldn't understand why there were so many skeletons. And then we learned from the guy that what they did was start a fire, and the walkers were walking through it, and all they were there to get was Patty. Do y'all know who Patty was?
Yeah, I didn't figure that out until the very end.
Patty was the fuel truck.
Yeah, I didn't get it until I saw the license plate.
Yeah, it was so freaky. I was like, shut the front door. So, but I had trouble so they thought everybody everywhere was fighting, and then they said it turns out they're not. And then he said, we never should have trusted you people to Daryl in the first place, right? And when they're looking at the fenced-in area, when the diabetic girl, Tina, I think, ran towards it, I thought she was looking for Patty, a girl, and she seemed devastated that the people behind the fence were walkers. So that was kind of a mugger money kind of thing, you know?
Oh, they kept it suspenseful, that's for sure.
Yeah, but it was a little complicated. The audio was so darn bad in parts of it that it was hard to follow. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So then the Tina girl, when they're looking for Patty and then she faints, she goes, no, she's gone. So I assumed it was somebody behind the fence. So one of them says the new plan is we got to get out of here. But that's when I couldn't understand the short-haired girl and she fainted. And then Daryl takes the pack and runs. That was beautiful. And like we talked about, he untied his own hands.
I think at that point, Tina was trying to say that there's no place to go. You know, are you sure you want to go somewhere else?
Okay, that makes sense.
I think that's where that was.
Yeah, because it was just like, what's the point of the dialogue, right? Because it seemed like if they escaped, they made it. And like one of you said, you knew when Daryl, I think it was Stan, he knew when Daryl saw that insulin cooler that he was going to go back. And that's something Glenn would have done, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but look where Glenn's at now because he went back. He's in the middle of a Walker herd being eaten alive.
Would you think that that was Glenn that answered him? At the very end of the show, somebody said something on the walkie-talkie.
Hello? Yes, Reed, what you got?
I heard that Norman Reedus confirmed that it's not Glenn.
No, it's the blonde dude. It was the
Maybe-
blonde dude that stole Daryl's bike.
Oh, God, because we don't know where the radio was, do we?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, Oily wants a link.
Oh.
Well, let's see
She
if
must have watched it.
I can find Oily a link.
Yep,
Now,
hang on, Oily. Go ahead,
Have
Mom.
we seen the blonde guy before? Is he coming from... I don't know, because I don't know if we've seen him before or not. You know what I mean? Like if he's coming out of a different group.
The blonde-haired guy who was with the two chicks who messed with my Daryl?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where he's from other than hell.
Okay, those three were the dumbest three people, I believe, on the entire planet.
I'm agreeing with you. That you wonder how they survived so long.
Yes.
Well, that's easy. They were living under the foot of them other people that came chasing them, which the people that was chasing them wasn't that smart anyway.
Ugh.
They come down through there with this big old truck just smashing trees with this big old truck. You've got a working truck in the zombie apocalypse, and you're going to drive it through the middle of the forest to possibly get a flat tire or to shove a stick through your radiator or some other dumb idea. Why?
Okay, but I love that scene with that big intimidating truck coming, and I thought, this is how desperate they are to get to these three people.
Yeah, the truck coming through there. I mean, it sounded monstrous, with all the little trees popping off and everything.
Yep. Oh, and how about when Daryl reached out and shook the branch to make the walker go over to the walker who was like stuck behind a car, and then it bit him.
Yeah, but they've already got it figured out that if they can cut off the limb, they're going to live through it. But
yeah, but how'd they figure that out? That's a Herschel move.
Thank you.
To cut that arm off as quickly as you can.
Yes.
That's a Herschel and a Rick move. Yeah.
Yet that gave me a creepy feeling. What did you think, Jason, when he was like, cut it off, do it, do it?
Yeah. It's like on Talking Dead, they're talking about what if it's just Rick? Or something like an alternate universe Rick.
Yes.
Well, they never did show, what was his name, Wade or Wayne, or they just showed him kind of from the waist down.
Yes.
I don't know. I think he might be somebody that we've already seen. Maybe whenever the governor was with that second group of people, maybe he was with that group and then just broke off and became the leader of this group.
Oh. And remember they said the governor wouldn't be the worst character they had? You know what I mean? Oh, and Manland makes a good point. A lot of folks die when they meet Rick. Rick is now Shane.
Yeah.
That's a very good
Well, you
point.
know, Shane had it going on. I mean, they have become Shane. You know, Shane would
Yes.
have survived all this time.
Hey, Oily.
Hey, Oily! Shane was built for this. I hated when they killed him off, but I hated when he banged Lori, that skinny bag of bones hoe, too. You know, he should have been with Andrea or something.
You know, it made more sense for him to be with Andrea.
Yes. Okay, now, Oily, what did you think of what we've talked about so far? We can't hear you, Oily.
You're muted, hon.
Hi.
Oh yeah, I had to do this, but found out supper's ready.
Okay, all right, come back if you can. Tell your mom you have to let the dishes soak. We only got 40 more minutes. We end at 10.
All right, I'll try my best.
Okay, don't choke. I'm not there to do the Heimlich. Oh, Stan, is that what he said? Walk it off. Okay, that's what I was going to talk about next. I had so much trouble understanding other than, do it, cut it off, cut it off, cut it off. So, and then the guy made some comment, not everybody would even help you back. So he was saying, walk it off. Then he helped him get back to the truck.
Yeah,
And then
Yeah,
drove out, right? Go ahead, Moms.
I thought that he might have been the one that let those three escape. You know, I thought that that's what kind of them blaming him and saying, you know, not everybody would help you because you let these
Yes.
three. You know, it's your fault that we're out here.
Gotcha.
And they tourniquet his arm before they cut it off. So they've done that before.
Yeah, like more than one time, right? It was so
So they knew what they were
precision.
doing.
Very precision. It really was. It really tripped me out. Oily, can we hear you now?
I don't know, can you?
Yes, we hear you. Hey.
I had to reload. I don't know what was wrong.
Listen, you probably just got Googled. What did you think so far about what we've talked about?
I didn't catch everything, but I did catch the Patty reference. I did notice the license plate, but I didn't catch the Patty reference. But so far, I didn't catch much of what y'all said. I was trying to figure out why I didn't have volume and had my external down. So, but yeah, I did hear Redneck say that he believed that those three were the three stupidest people on the face of the planet. And I cannot believe that they betrayed him once again after he came back with the insulin and even handed him a gun.
Oh, that was Evil Incorporated, because I looked at the guy and I thought, wow, he gets it. He's going to help save us.
Yeah.
And then later when he turned on him, what I didn't understand is Daryl knew immediately when the guy did it, and he went, oh, and they said S-H-I-T a lot in this episode. Did you notice?
Well, didn't they hear him cock that gun? I'm pretty sure that's what.
Yeah, he heard it.
That's what happened.
Okay. But they must have said S-H-I-T like 11 times. I'm like, are we going to start cursing in The Walking Dead? I don't want to hear that. What's next? S-O-B, the F word. I mean, what's allowed on TV now? It's not necessary.
There's no need in it, yeah.
Like, think about Abraham. Go ahead, Tommy.
After midnight, everything's allowed.
I know, but I don't want it on The Walking Dead. Like, look how many epic things Abe has done. Mother dick, right? That's not dirty. It was hysterical. I mean, he's got some one-liners that are mind-blowing.
I'm telling you.
Now, what we did not talk about was, okay, Sasha left a track in the mud, remember, for Daryl to find?
Yeah.
And then this was another scene I didn't quite understand. They either went too deep for me. I don't know. I'm just used to Abraham killing things, having sex with that girl and the Mohawk watching, right? What's the girl's name that he has sex with?
Rosie,
that Rosita. Yeah. Okay, so they're walking down the little town, and there's one walker ahead, And Sasha keeps Abraham from stabbing it in the head, and then she writes Dixon on the door. And that's when I realized they are such a team. They're going to wait and give Daryl a chance to find him. And then they go in that, it's a auto insurance place, right? And that was their usual clearing of a room. But I was afraid Daryl wouldn't be able to see Dixon. You know, it was just kind of scraped into a steel door.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what makes him a great tracker. I mean, he could find that. He looks for that kind of stuff.
Okay,
Yeah, and
and
that's
see,
what
I
she
forgot
said.
that.
That if he was going to find them, you don't go looking for him, he comes looking for you. And she had said that right before she put her foot in that mud.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, the foot in the mud was just a track for him so he could track him to that spot.
But I was thinking that's so obvious. I was afraid that the other people would see that too and be able to find her, you know?
Yes.
Well, if these three are representative of the other people, then they're not going to do it. You know, they wouldn't be able to track.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, they had laid a trap apparently for these three people, thinking they were going to walk through the town.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
they couldn't even kill three people that was completely unarmed at the moment, and were not prepared at all to deal with a gunfight.
It totally floored me whenever the guy, you know, they just headed off away from the walkers, you know, and was going to head back through their alternate route, and all of a sudden this gunfire started. I don't know, usually I'm expecting things, and I just wasn't expecting that, and it kind of just threw me off there for a second. I was like, oh my gosh, who's shooting at them?
Me too, and it was
wolves, but I knew the wolves didn't have any
guns.
Guns and stuff, so...
And my God, did they? And then as they're driving past, they're standing in front of the buildings. And I thought, what are there, 15? But our three, right, take out 2 in a car. Daryl loses an SUV. It was so intense, and I was like the same as you. Okay, it's not the wolves. And notice the guy who got his arm bit, who had him chop him off, they made sure his hair was down over his forehead, like if he had a W, we couldn't see it. But then I thought, just like you, I went, wait, the wolves don't have a gun except for the one Morgan let the guy pick up, you know, as he was running, when he had those 5 surrounding him and he wouldn't kill them, and the guy picked up a gun on the way out. But these had, like, rifles and stuff. And when they shot out Sasha's back window, I freaked out. Go ahead, Oils.
I think it could be some of the people from Terminus. I don't know. I don't read the graphic novels, so I couldn't tell you. But I think it definitely could be possible that it's an offshoot of them. But yeah, that was crazy. It went from just, okay, they're finally heading back, and, you know, all of a sudden, all this gunfire and chaos real fast.
On our little Raggedy 3, one raggedy car and a motorcycle, you know? Now,
well, we know they didn't run out of fuel, you know, it wasn't their incompetency, you know.
Right, that's a good point. Now, I missed a lot of the dialogue, the deepness of Sasha in the room with Abe, and then when he found the military uniform, at first I was thinking it was a recruiting station, but then I realized it's an auto insurance, right? And then the walker trapped in the office, the glassed office, and the door was locked when he was going to open it and stick him, and Sasha goes, door's locked. They are so undisturbed by the walkers, or the dead ones, as those 3 called them, that she enjoyed sitting there looking at it behind the glass. It's got a little bit, but remember, she laid in a pit with them.
That sound would drive me insane, though, that all the time. It would just drive me nuts.
It is like dripping water, right? Or something scraping. That's exactly what it is. Now, so Sasha, I didn't understand a lot of that dialogue. I wish Jason could have stayed, because he did. So she goes, you're either sleeping on watch, and he said, I'm on watch, right? Oh, I did not get to see what was written on the whiteboard in the office with the walker.
I did.
Okay, I only got, I pray for the world, keep going, stay cheerful. What all did it say, PJ?
It said, proud to have provided value. I pray for the world to keep going, stay cheerful. The bite kills. And he either committed suicide, well, he had to have committed suicide for that door to be locked on the inside.
Yeah, that's true.
Genius, sister. Okay. Oh my God, they just didn't hover on it long enough for me. Thank you, moms. Okay, so then,
That's the video.
how about when Abe goes outside, and then there's the little military vehicle that he finds the RPG in, and then he sees the soldier hanging from the fence post on the bridge. And when he starts going out towards him, I was like, holy crap, and lays intentionally his rifle down. Because Sasha had said stuff about doing that. I thought he was going to try and stick the guy in the brain, then
Yeah.
take the RPG. But he almost bit him. And then Abe just yells at him, right? Ah, like a lunatic, which freaked me out, right? And then his other one-liner when he's talking to Sasha, which is, loose ends make my ass itch. I was like, there's another keeper by him. And then she went on and on about you have choices, and like if you jump out of a plane, you no longer have a choice, right? All you could do is land. Did you understand any of that? Any of y'all, what the hell that was? It went deep on me, right?
That was a real poignant moment for him, Abraham, when he laid that gun down. Now, you remember whenever he met the mullet guy, whatever, I can't remember his name. Anyhow, whenever he met him, he was about to commit suicide.
Yes.
You know, he was about to commit suicide. So he's still in that adrenaline rush. I got to do this. If I'm not going to do this, then I'm done. So I think when he laid that gun down, that he was making a decision. Now, I don't know. This is how I interpret it. Okay, I'm either going to let this guy bite me, or I'm going to decide to live. And I think that's what he was doing when he, laid the gun down and then crawled over. I thought, he's going to offer him his arm or something.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
So I think that was a change for him. I think we'll see a different turn, a different side of him.
Yeah, he decided, okay, I can leave loose ends. Because, it was like the RPGs that he had there wasn't enough. He had to have every single one of them, the loose end. And then, when he gets out there, he realizes, okay, it's not worth dying over,
Well, he needed that piece to fire them. That was the actual firing mechanism.
Oh, yeah. But...
It
wasn't worth dying over. Can't use it if you're dead.
Everybody's skipping over one important fact.
What?
How did that soldier get there?
Well, he was clearly there during the SHTF event, right? Because he had a military vehicle.
Yeah, but he was on top of a pole that had fell over.
That was like a fence, it looked like the kind of fence you put alongside a bridge because too many people jump or throw things onto cars.
Was the window cracked?
And it appeared he was like hanging from one of the fence posts, but they didn't stay on it long enough because then when Abraham was crawling out, remember, we saw his hands on the chain link part. But you, Moms and Oily, y'all nailed it. I totally didn't get the connection of loose ends and why he was risking going out to that guy. I didn't even realize, number one, it was the firing mechanism, and the fact that he was risking. I thought he was going to bite him. I thought Abraham was going to, and then poor Sasha's in there snoozing away, right?
And the only thing I can think of is why he didn't stab him, because he would still be leaving some sort of a trail.
Yes. So, and then he fell. By the grace of God, he falls, and he's probably down there still alive.
Yeah.
Well, that's confirmation of the decision that he made, where you don't have to kill them. When he screamed, that was the internal fight that was going on, and that was his way of saying, I'm going to try to live now. I don't have to take these over-the-top risks. I'm just going to try to survive, but not go out of my way to put my life in danger. And I think that's what that was about. So for him to watch that and let that fall, that was just, oh, okay, so I kind of did make the right decision. That's the way I interpret that.
You were like a psychiatrist, because that whole stuff, it was part of why I didn't like the episode. I had my finger in my nose going, I don't get it. Rock on. You were so, see, well, now it makes sense, because I'm telling you, I was like, I don't understand. I kind of like the violence of it, you know what I mean? And it was like, I'm not used to Abraham getting deep, because remember how crazy he was when some in his herd behind the car started to break off, and Sasha didn't want him to get out of the car, and he just went crazy and risked it all. Mm-hmm. Now that makes sense, all what she was saying that it didn't quite get. You know, so that was way weird. And I loved when he lit the cigar and sat on the truck bed. You know, just chilling like a villain right there. That was pretty groovy.
It was like, I'm just going to be content here in the moment.
Yeah. And that's
what it was. It all came together right there, where, you know, okay, I can just breathe for a second, you know, and enjoy this moment.
To me, it seemed like that was his, I'm going to sit here and eat my damn chocolate pudding moment.
Yeah. That oil is Tommy's favorite scene ever.
It is. I love it. I love that scene.
I've watched all of the chats that I ended up not getting to until the end. So that's true. That chocolate pudding moment. I was thinking, how selfish can he be? But then I'm thinking, you know what? That kid deserves to sit and eat that chocolate pudding if he wants it.
Imagine as girls, if we had been out there for all the PMSing we had been through month after month with no chocolate to get us through, that would have been, my God, I would have killed Sasha, Lori, anybody who tried to put a spoon in my number 10 can of chocolate.
There you go.
Yeah. Now, when Daryl went back and brought the insulin, and then he gave him the gun, like, why'd you come back? And Daryl said, well, I guess I'm stupid too, remember? Because they said they were stupid for joining that group. And at first it was good, and then it got all squirrely. And I was like, you ain't stupid until, right, the guy, what'd y'all say, cocked the gun behind him, and that really creeped me out, you know? And then,
and how many bullets are left in that gun? You know, I think he shot 7 times whenever Daryl was taking that canvas bag. And then he shot one to get Daryl's attention when he was holding the gun on him. You know, there can't be that many bullets in that magazine.
Moms, I was expecting Daryl to go, you know, are you feeling lucky? I was expecting a Clint Eastwood moment of, you know how many bullets are in the gun? Something. Instead, when Daryl went, oh crap, right? And he knew, y'all figured it out, that he cocked the gun. That freaked me out.
It freaked me out whenever the zombie was coming at him, and I'm thinking, Daryl, why don't you just grab the bag and run a little further away and give yourself time to get the dang bow and arrow out of the bag? And he just kept fighting.
Thank you. And then it was like, do you not have a knife? Yes. It was like, it was very intense because Daryl was really acting, and he looked scared poopless.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Now, after the cigar moment, right, after being outside and coming back with the RP, it was after, because he goes back into, Abraham goes back into the auto office, the insurance, and he tells Sasha he likes how she calls him, right, and on his bull, S-H-I-T, and he wants to get to know her a lot better. And she says, what makes you think I want that? And he goes, a man can tell. That way. And he looked so satisfied when he said it. I loved that scene.
I was thinking, you cocky SOB is what I was thinking.
Yeah, but he was so studly. It was like, dang, that is a man who would pull my hair and drag me down the hall and make me happy. Right? Yes. And then Sasha said, you've got some things to take care of. And he said, I do. And now I get what he meant from what you and Mom said, right? That he just had a real come to Jesus moment out there. I mean, this is character changing for him. What'd you think, Moms?
Absolutely. I was very impressed whenever he said a man knows. And if you notice that Sasha didn't say, I don't want to hit that.
No.
You know, she just left it hanging. That's going to be weird as all get out. But she left it open.
Yes. Ooh. And then, now here was something I liked. When the conversation with the two chicks, right, and they're going in, first I thought it was a burned house, then I realized, oh, it's a greenhouse frame, and they were talking about they had been in that group, wherever they ran away from, since the beginning, but they still didn't know everyone who was there. When Daryl said, why did you think I was one of them? And evidently there's so many people in that group, even though they had been there from the beginning, they still didn't know everyone. So this has to be...
They're keeping them segregated or something, yeah.
Or it's bigger than the governor's area, right?
No, that's scary.
Yeah, which is just freaking frightening to think of. Okay, and then dumb Tina runs over to the two bodies, and it took me a minute to figure out they were encased in glass from the melting greenhouse, right? You know?
Yeah, that was, it's glass or plastic, wasn't it?
It was supposed to be glass.
Yeah, it should be melted glass.
Oh.
And then
One zombie bust through the melted glass, though. It should have reformed. Right?
Do what?
You know, usually one zombie can't bust through glass. They never have.
Well, when she fell on them, she broke the glass when she fell on them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's why they couldn't. So they looked dead. That's why they couldn't bite. She broke through it. Okay. Right. You girls are so smart. Oily, you needed to have been in our chats. Mom just got hooked up with a headset. We can understand her. You two are the smartest chicks we know. You know? And then they dig a grave, right? But I wouldn't have buried that dumb girl. Oh, did you like when Daryl looks at the guy and he goes, how many walkers you kill, right? Reverting back to those 3 questions that we hadn't heard in so long.
Yeah.
All right.
I couldn't believe that he was asking them this, because I was thinking if he pulled him by gunpoint and was going to turn him over to somebody,
yes.
Idiots, I'm thinking, why in the world are you even considering these people?
Okay, and then when Daryl asked him how many people you kill, the guy said none. And Daryl goes, why? And the guy says, 'cause if I did, there ain't no going back. So then I thought, okay, here's a guy who's going to be good, you know, that Daryl's going to bring him back to his people. Right. And then after that, right, we end up with him pulling the gun on Daryl. But here's my question. Why didn't they go get Patty if they were originally going to get Patty the fuel truck? Why did they decide to take the motorcycle where clearly they're inept at surviving out there? Right? They're not very good at it.
Well, they wouldn't know they thought that Patty was gone. They didn't know that she was parked in the woods.
That's when Tina said Patty is gone, and I got confused thinking Jason was talking about a girl Patty behind the fenced area. Got you. Yeah. So it was like, this is our only mode of transportation. And Daryl had told him, you know, I got people, you know. Okay, now see, Moms, I got the hiccups, y'all.
Stan Ulch said that the 2 walkers that were encased in the glass were shrink wrapped for freshness.
Oh, God. See, Stan nails it, man. Oh, how about when the girl went, oh, I'm sorry, right? I don't even think they asked his name, right? And Daryl goes, you're gonna be. Oh, that was a sweet, that's the Daryl we know.
Like, I will see you again, and you will be sorry, people.
And I think Go ahead.
You noticed that they didn't ask that girl how many people that she's killed. He handed her the gun to hold the gun on Daryl.
Oh, and she had no hesitation in knowing what to do. Because I would have so shot that ugly guy I was with just saying, I tell Daryl, now you're mine. Right?
You're claimed.
Yes, you're claimed. I love it. I love it, Jason. And then she tossed him some bandages, right, and said, clean yourself up. I think she tossed him some bandages, probably from his pack of first aid kits. And then Daryl pulls out the carving that the guy had. Remember, he kind of made him trade. You got to give me something. I didn't understand that either.
Well, that was
that's
for coming back and bringing them their insulin back.
He said it was a matter of principle. You know, he wasn't just gonna give him the insulin for nothing, especially after what they put him through. You know.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and that might turn out to be a significant piece. I mean, the little stupid things that you don't think mean anything turn out to mean a lot.
Exactly.
So that might play in the future a little bit. Now, what was it? Was it an angel or something?
Or a man, a little carving. Now, tell me this. When Daryl ended up back at who I thought was a motorcycle rider, right, with the melted helmet, and he brushed something off in the dirt, was that the license plate for Patty?
No, that was a door, something for one of the...
It was like a sign.
Yeah, I think it was a sign.
I don't know if it was a sign for the side of the truck or if it was a sign that had been up, right, but it was a sign.
Okay,
it was a sign that they ran into, and then it just kept going on with it.
Right.
Okay, and that, because I was like, why did that give him a clue to look over at those branches, just like he covered up his motorcycle to find Patty the fuel truck?
Mm-hmm.
That was freaking bugging.
When is there branches with leaves on it left in a fire? You know.
Yeah. They didn't burn the whole woods because they need some wood so they can have squirrels, right?
I think it crashed down after the fire, probably. It wasn't in the fire.
Okay.
Now here's my question. Is Daryl going to hunt these people down because they stole his crossbow?
Listen, they're going to get it so bad with no lube that they are really going to regret it. But and they deserve it because first they made him rip up the left arm, the bad guys in the community, of his leather jacket, right, where he's got to hunt down a new one. Okay, and then he's being so fair to them. What makes me mad is he brought the insulin back, and then the dumb blonde, I think her name was Tina, right? It shows how inexperienced they were that the other two didn't yell, freeze, Tina, that she cracks in case that clearly they've lived in a community like the people in Alexandria did, just, you know, they didn't have the solar and the clean water.
Exactly.
Any significance to Abe putting on the jacket that was too tight and walking out in front of Sasha and then wearing it so proudly? It was like a period of normalcy for him?
It was a peacock, you know, strutting his feathers, so to speak. Look how good look how good I look. How good I clean up, I guess, you know, in a sense.
That's right, because she's trying to claim her for his woman, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Now, Stan says in the external, wouldn't that be the indicator? The only place with unburned trees, there's your sign. But I think, maybe they're trying to make it like winter. But Daryl wears a jacket when he wears a motorcycle, no matter what, in case of falling.
Yeah.
I was a little bummed. Go ahead, Jason.
It did kind of help him anyways, because if he didn't have that jacket, that would have just tore it up real bad.
Yeah, because he got some road rash, but it wasn't as bad as it would have been.
Oh, exactly. So then I loved it when Abraham and Sasha are looking out the auto insurance window, and they both get a satisfied face, right? And then the next thing we see is they're in the Patty the fuel truck with Daryl driving, looking like the three crew we know. And I mean, Abe looks so satisfied, right?
Oh, he's got this crappy eating grin on his face. He's just like, oh, she didn't say no, and here we are.
Yep, and he ain't even thinking about how he's going to break this down to Rosita. He's just thinking, I'm going to get me some mo. right? But he's got a crush on Sasha. And I guess because members... Go ahead, Jace.
Threesome.
You roboted, babe.
Sasha and Rosita, threesome.
Oh, no.
See, thinking just like a man. Look at there. See, he's young and clean cut, but he's still a man, right? But it was...
With the opposite head.
Yeah, there you go, Oily.
I was not thinking that at all.
No, of course you weren't, because you know that me, Moms, and Oily will whoop your tail if you say so. You're a very wise man, Tommy. Jason is young. He does not know. So it was
not on that head, Jason. Just saying.
Now, we talked about this before we started, about 10 minutes before we started. I absolutely hated getting no preview, and then they embedded in that stupid show. What was the name of the stupid show that came after it, Jason?
Wait, what was the question?
Into the Badlands, yes. And then it's just Michonne, Rick, and Morgan talking about the 4 words, life is, but 3 words, can't count, life, no, 4 words, all life is precious. And I thought, it's going to be weird next week, because it's like Morgan's lost his mind, but I forgot something. Remember when Sasha really cracked, and she was out there picking everybody off with her scope outside Alexandria, shooting the walkers, and then made a big hole, and then laid down with the dead walker she had shot in the head? So her and Abraham are equally broken, right? Only she got unbroken, and I think she just unbroke him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got him thinking more.
Well, she had said that she's fixed. You know, whenever she was saying, you know, I worked my stuff out. You know, but that episode, that part with him putting on the uniform, when he saw that uniform and it had all the medals on it and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I think that is where Abraham's coming from. I think he's coming from a military background or some kind of structured background like that. And for him to take off all that, the medal, and claim that jacket with just the basic medal, I think that's a sign of healing for him. You know, because, hey, look, I'm presenting myself as, you know, normal now and not being a peacock or whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
You know, this is me and this is who I am.
And he has incredible posture. He always has. Go ahead, Jason.
It's like one time they actually decided to stay back and look at how to get around the one walker with the RPG on it.
Yes.
And then, but now they have an RPG. That means they can take care of that crowd of walkers in front of the little wall.
Well, look, they got a gas truck now and that that big gun.
The RPG, or they can go to that community that took Daryl, because it's going to be a big one, and that RPG could be helpful in blowing the snot out of the wall, and especially if they can bring a herd of zombies with them, too. Because think about it, they lost a car and a motorcycle, but they come back with a fuel truck, right? A bud and romance in 2, and a sports jacket. We got it going on.
Well, you know, whenever PJ was saying about the medals, another way, I guess, to look at the lack, you know, where he took off all of the medals except for the basic, would be like he's starting new. He's starting over, you know, in a sense, like a rebirth kind of a thing, because he's not, you know, he made sure not wear all of the medals, so that, you know,
like he didn't earn them, so he didn't want them.
Right.
Hey, oh, y'all are so good at this. Oh, my God, Oily, you have to come next Monday. We only have 2 more episodes, homegirl.
Oh, my gosh, I know.
It's going to be sad. I hate these short seasons. I miss the old days, but I'm old. In the summer, it was reruns, but the rest of the time, because it's cold, I'll be laying on my sofa under an Afghan with my gas logs on, watching television. I want to see fresh stuff, you know?
Exactly. I don't understand why the seasons are starting later and ending earlier in the, you know.
And mid-season breaks. Who came up with that one?
Yeah, it's silly. I don't understand. I'm having an end of the season anxiety.
And I
think Sam put something in the comments. What is it? You guys having your own conversation about the red shirt, or is there something about a red shirt? Love the red shirt reference.
Hmm.
The red shirt was out of the original Star Trek series. The red shirt people always died.
Oh, yeah.
But who said red shirt,
Who
Stan?
said it? Who said it? Stan, can you...
Oh, there, Stan nailed
Can't
it.
take
Can't take another
person's
person's valor. Mm-hmm. Yep. Because he's honorable deep down.
Good point there, Stan.
And excuse me, cranky manland. Okay, we love The Walking Dead, and Daryl did not throw his jacket off. He peeled that thing off like a striptease for all the old women watching, of which I would be one. Okay, and then he had to throw it down and notice his deep wound. That wasn't a bleeding elbow. Manland, you need to watch it, Manland. You need to check yourself. Check it. Because you can't talk bad about Daryl because I'm in this chat.
Don't worry. I think they kind of rocked him into a wimp position anyway. Oh no, he just doesn't seem as bad as he used to be.
Uh-oh. Go get him.
Tommy, in the off-air, this is going to go ugly for you. Okay? And we'll be there. Yep. And okay.
He's close enough to drive down and kick your butt, Tommy.
Thank you, Moms. And I can pick Moms up on the way, or I can fly her with one of my 17 million frequent flyer miles, Tommy. This could go really wrong for you by tomorrow.
I think all of them have softened up just a little bit after being, in Alexandria. I think they've all softened up a little bit. They're not quite as intense as they were, most of them. Abe was still pretty intense, but most of them have kind of softened up a little bit, but I still think their badassery's still in there for sure.
Okay, but do you think
remember
Rick
the
has
metaphor?
changed? Go ahead,
Oh,
Mom.
Rick's going insane. Do you remember the metaphor with the horse and Daryl?
No.
Daryl was not comfortable in Alexandria.
Yeah,
no, he was not.
When he was following that horse, and he said that he had seen the horse around, and he was out there scouting with somebody. It was one of the Alexandrians, and they were just following it. And he said something about the horse, and it deliberately corralled itself in a field with some trees surrounding it, and the zombies got it. And it was just screaming a metaphor for him being in that town. Like if he's in that town, all cooped up, he's going to go crazy. He's going to kill him.
He was with Aaron. Yeah, he was with Aaron. That's when they saw the red raincoat guy, remember?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's a total wimp, but the past few episodes they've been writing him as a kind of a wimpier character.
Hey, Tommy. Hey, Tommy. Tommy, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Shut up.
But do you think the season one would have taken back the insulin?
Do we think the what would take back the insulin, Jace?
Do you think the season one Daryl would take back the insulin?
No.
No. Not back in Merle's day. Nope. How about you, Oily?
And I think that's a lot of Carol's influence on him.
Okay.
Not that he's softened up, but I think he's thinking, I got to do this. It awoke his consciousness.
Moms, you are such a closet freaking psychiatrist. Listen, awaken his inner. Oh my. Moms, you are so smart. Very smart.
Mom, did you see what Manland wrote about your boy?
I'm ignoring it because I think he's jumped the shark out there. So I'm, yeah. I like a good time and then I'm done. Yeah. So I didn't really like the episode because I didn't really get all the innuendo and the stuff that you two girls dug out of it. And now I really like the episode because our closet psychologist, Bombs, and then the Oilster, y'all freaking broke it down for me, and now I totally dug it. And I liked it just because I got a clean monitor from my Daryl.
Screen liquor.
Yeah.
I have to tell y'all something really funny real quick.
Okay.
So I was rewatching my granddaughter was here, and Chelsea Bug was in her room playing, and so I was re-watching last week's episode, and she walks in about the time that they're in the sewer and the two zombies come out to attack, and she sees it and she goes, oh, whenever Maggie was reaching through that zombie
Yeah.
and stuff, and Chelsea just started laughing, and she goes, them zombies.
Oh God, she nailed it.
Zombie monsters, zombies, and she loves it. She started laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, this child, definitely my son's daughter, because he's always liked crazy, strange stuff, since he was little. He never got scared of stuff.
Right. She was just cool with it. That is very groovy.
She goes, I want to watch more zombies, Gigi.
Oh
I want to
gosh.
see the zombie show.
All right,
The
so
zombie-
we're at 10 o'clock. We're at 10 o'clock and we need to end. Does anybody want to bring out any point they want to make or anything to say other than Tommy talking smack about Daryl?
I heard some chatter that some people think that the group is going to send Morgan off. Like,
They need to send Morgan off.
Yeah.
Death is where Morgan is.
Yeah.
Look how many people died because of him.
Yes.
And Rick wouldn't have gotten attacked by the wolf if Morgan actually killed the other wolves.
Exactly. And I mean, seriously, I mean, it's a noble thought, but in this kind of a situation, it's just not something you can do. Not and survive and protect those that you're with. You can't expect to preserve everyone's life even if they're trying to kill you. It's just not that type of a world. You can't be going around with that kind of a conscience.
He's putting other people in danger, and let's not forget we've still got that crazy wolf who went after Morgan the first time when he was sitting on the log, in a basement somewhere, and Morgan let a wolf walk off with a handgun out of Alexandria when he could have killed all 5 of them. And you're exactly right, Jason, about the danger he put Rick in again.
Exactly. And then that one he's bitten. Remember, the one that's in the basement is bitten, so he'll be turning.
He was cut.
Yes.
No, he was cut. Like, he had a big giant cut.
Oh, I thought he was bitten.
Yeah.
Because he said he was running a fever. Or maybe he was cut and infected. I'll have to go back and rewatch that. But I thought he had been bitten or scratched. One or the other.
Well, Oily, I hope.
And remember, Rick's cut too. You don't know what's going to happen with Rick's hand.
Right, Moms. Good point.
There's
he
a lot
bled.
of stuff that's up in the air.
Yeah. And we've only got 2 more episodes, and I think Mom's right. They're going to leave the Glen till the end for the mid-season break, and it's just going to make us angry.
Yeah,
but I think
until the beginning, until the big, after January, after it comes back on, that's going to irk me.
Yeah.
That may be the time when they bring in Negan, and then it's like right as they bring in Glenn, and then Negan kills Glenn.
Yeah. And what you talked about, Oily, that they've all gotten a little softer, to me, with the exception of Rick, because Rick is basically cracked now. Rick is, let me kill it. Yeah. All right, so we got to sign off. And Stan, thank you for joining us. We always love your insight, and Fuzzfork was going to be here, but he's been having internet trouble, and thanks for everybody who offers any insight from the external, because we love doing this little 1-hour chat on Mondays, and we'll be back next Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we try to end by 10. So have a great night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.